KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
Hi students, now in this video, so we are going to discuss the new information regarding where are the ATP and NADPH used. So the side heading is, so where are the ATP as well as NADPH are used. So first of all, did you remember one point here? So from where ATP as well as NADPHs, ATP and NADPHs are produced? In a light reaction, isn't it? So means in a light reaction, we have seen the production or the formation of ATP as well as NADPH. That's why, so these two members we are calling as the products of light reaction, or we have given one separate name to them as assimilatory power. Now what is happening? The products of light reaction are ATP and NADPH and oxygen also. So next, of these means among these three, no, of this O2 means oxygen diffuses out of the chloroplast. Diffuses out of the chloroplast, while ATP and NADPH are used to drive the process leading to the synthesis of food and more accurately sugars. So means, so here there are three products of light reaction we will notice or we will observe. ATP as well as NADPH and oxygen also are there. Now the oxygen is a gaseous form, no, gas form, no, so thereby it will diffuse into the it will diffuse out of the chloroplast and it will go and it will come out from the chloroplast. And ATP as well as NADPH too definitely are involved in the dark reaction, isn't it? Biosynthetic reactions or biosynthetic pathway. So now here what is happening? So ATP as well as NADPH, definitely these two are definitely required to the synthesis of food materials. Means synthesis of food materials means more accurately sugars formation. So when the sugars are going to be synthesized by using of ATP and NADPH, so that kind of processes are simply we will be considering as biosynthetic phase. Biosynthetic phase of photosynthesis. So next one, this process does not directly depend on the presence of light but depends on the product of light reaction, that is ATP and NADPH. So besides to that, carbon dioxide and water also are there. Means here definitely, so ATP as well as NADPH which are utilized or which are required to the biosynthetic phase or the dark reaction of photosynthesis, so along with the carbon dioxide and water. So here one point we should not forget, sir, how sir the process of biosynthetic phase will be started means, first of all the biosynthetic phase is started by receiving the products of light reaction known as ATP and NADPH. Sir, then it is not depending on the light, sir, means no, it is not depending on the light but it's depending on the products of light reaction. This is statement important. Enna point? The dark reaction or biosynthetic process, it is not depending on the light, but it is not, one more time, it is not depending on the light, but depending on the products of light reaction. Okay, means suppose inge light vandu ange ukkandona ange no chance to the process of photosynthesis, but light vandu suppose here it involves in the synthesis of ATP and NADPH2 means at the time ATP and NADPH definitely will be utilized in a direct reaction. So thereby what is the point? Biosynthetic phase, if you see there, no, so here you will understand this process does not directly depends on the presence of light, but it depends on the products of the light reaction. Products of light reaction nothing but ATP and NADPH only, no. Okay, so along with these assimilatory powers, so definitely in a dark reaction, so our biosynthetic phase requires carbon dioxide as well as water. Now after many series of experiments, no, so Melvin Calvin used the radioactive C14 carbon 14 so in algal photosynthesis and discovered that first carbon dioxide fixation product. So Melvin Calvin for the first time by using of radioactive carbon 14 in algal photosynthesis, so he was discovered the first carbon dioxide fixation product and named it as 3 carbon named it as, or they have discovered as 3 carbon organic acid. And he also contributed to working out of the complete biosynthetic pathway. So means he was worked on a tremendous work on the biosynthetic pathway, and that's why after him, so that particular contribution or that particular biosynthetic pathway we started to call it as Calvin cycle. Okay, means what is the thing? So it was done very tremendous work on C3 cycle. So by using of radioactive molecules also, for example carbon 14 or C14. So in algal photosynthesis, so chlorella they have used. So here algal members we are taking now. What is organism means name chlorella. Okay, so later he was found what he was discovered, no, first stable product of C3 cycle. So they have given it as 3 carbon organic acid. Okay, and he was he also contributed to working out of the complete biosynthetic pathway. So hence it was called as Calvin cycle after him. Okay, now the first product identified was 3-phosphoglyceric acid, or in short form PGA. So 3-phosphoglyceric acid, or in short form PGA, 3-phosphoglyceric acid. So simply 3-phosphoglyceric acid we will be taking as a phosphoglyceric acid. Next one, scientists also tried to know whether all plants have PGA as the first product of carbon fixation, or whether any other product was formed in other plants. So they would like to find out. Means once they have found the presence of or the synthesis of 3 carbon organic acid, definitely they will get a doubt now. So whether in a few plants only this particular 3 carbon compound is there or not, or in some other kind of plants, or other kind or other carbon or organic acids are there, they got, or they would like to find out. At the time what they have done, so again they started initially when they are performing the experiments, no, so by the process of photosynthesis they found the formation of 3-phosphoglyceric acid. But so again they are getting one doubt. So in plants whether this particular phosphoglyceric acid is there or not, or suppose in some other plants, suppose if some other kind of products are going to be formed or what, let us find. Likewise when they have continued their experiments, no, surprisingly they found one more kind of organic acid which is formed in some other kind of plants and named it as oxaloacetic acid, or simply OAA. Oxaloacetic acid or OAA. So that is the information only now inge pathikalam. So scientists also try to know whether all plants have PGA as the first product of carbon fixation, or whether any other product was formed in the other plants, and found that oxaloacetic acid OAA also as a first product of biosynthetic pathway in some plants. So means finally what they have found, so initially they found so presence of 3-phosphoglyceric acid in some plants, but later they have they have doubt. So in some plants, so definitely differences will be there. So likewise when they have started to continue their experiments, surprisingly they found one more kind of organic acid, so with 4 carbons in some other kind of plants as first product of photosynthesis. Okay, and since then the CO2 assimilation during the photosynthesis, carbon dioxide assimilation during the photosynthesis was said to be of 2 main types, So those plants in which the first product of carbon dioxide fixation is a C3 acid, so that kind of a plants, so that kind of a pathway we are taking as a C3 pathway, and so those in which the first product was a C4 acid, so the plant or the pathway is known as a C4 pathway. Okay, now these 2 groups of plants showed other associated characteristics also. So here from these 4 lines, what is information? So when the scientists or various type of members, so when they have found out that different types of organic acids or different types of products in photosynthesis, so now they are going to divide the pathways or photosynthetic pathways into 2 types or 2 main types. What it is? So where among the plants in which the first product carbon fixation, suppose if it is 3 carbon compound, so those plants they have termed it as C3 plants. The C3 plants definitely will show the C3 pathway. So likewise the plants in which the 4 carbon compound is going to be formed, so those plants they have named them as C4 plants, and the pathway which takes place in the C4 plants they have named it as, or they had been named it as a C4 pathway. A point you understood. If plants are there, in plants first product, suppose a 3 carbon product means, so those plants they have named them as a C3 plants. Okay, so in a C3 plants, so definitely C3 pathway process takes place, and later the plants in which first product, suppose a 4 carbon compound means, so later those plants they have named them as C4 plants, and definitely in C4 plants C4 pathway process takes place. So likewise even plants also can be categorized into 2 types based on the first stable product during the process of photosynthesis as C3 plants and C4 plants. In a C3 plants, first stable product is what it is, phosphoglyceric acid, and in a C4 plant, first product is oxaloacetic acid with 4 carbons compound. So likewise, so they have given somewhat information related to the C3 cycle, C3 cycle as well as C4 cycle. Okay, now up to here we will take the information, so which is comes under so ATP as well as NADPH, where they are going to utilized. Okay, later the primary acceptor or carbon dioxide, the primary acceptor of carbon dioxide point of view, studies very unexceptionally showed that the acceptor molecule was a 5th carbon compound or 5th carbon ketose sugar, nothing but Ribose biphosphate. So RUBP means scientists very without any doubt what they have studied means, definitely the carbon dioxide acceptor is what they have found, so they have discovered that as Ribose biphosphate or RUBP. So means here the Ribose biphosphate or the RUBP was the 5th carbon ketose sugar. 5th carbon ketose sugar. So here the 5th carbon ketose sugar, so definitely is acting as primary acceptor of carbon dioxide. This marandu vendamma. But so again, but they have a doubt. What is a doubt? So suppose if you take Calvin cycle, so their first product is 3-phosphoglyceric acid, no. So C3 acid. So there are 3 carbons only are there, no. But here first carbon dioxide acceptor having of 5 carbons. Then from the 5 carbon compounds to eppadi 3 carbon compound formation taking place. So likewise they have got a doubt, and again they have continued to study their experiments, but what they have found it, so finally what they found, no, definitely 5 carbon compound only is the carbon dioxide acceptor. So that is the thing they found. So that's why that is information. So they also believed that since the first product was a C3 acid, the primary acceptor would be a 2 carbon compound. Ipo generally we will think like that only, no. Ipo C3 cycle nalli 3 carbon compound going to be formed. Up 3 carbon compound is going to be formed means generally what we will think, I think so 2 carbon compound will receive the carbon dioxide. So again in a carbon dioxide 1 carbon is there, and if you take a 2 carbon compound, no, ange 2 carbon total combined one C3 compound formation takes place, or 3 carbon compound formation takes place in a photosynthesis. We will think as human beings we will think like that only, no. But here what is happening? So but what they have found very nicely means, so here the first carbon dioxide acceptor is not 2 carbon compound, it is a 5 carbon compound. So the 5 carbon compound name is Ribose bisphosphate, or simply we will be taking this one as RUBP. RUBP. Now let us start the information of Calvin cycle. So we know very well. So again now this particular Calvin cycle which was given by the Melvin Calvin. So Melvin Calvin only was experimented tremendously on algal member by using of radioactive carbon 14. So that is the thing. Now let us start to discuss the Calvin cycle. Calvin pathway occurs in all photosynthetic plants. It does not matter whether they have C3 or C4 pathways. So means here what is the point? So C4 or a Calvin pathway or the Calvin cycle definitely occurs in all kind of photosynthetic plants or all photosynthetic plants. Why it will, so based on this one, whether the plant a C3 plant or suppose if the plant a C4 plant or whatever it is, so definitely whatever may be the type of the plant you can take into the consideration. So definitely there Calvin cycle process takes place, or pathway of a Calvin, Melvin Calvin cycle occurs or that takes place. Okay, now so Calvin cycle for our convenience to study, now we have divided into 3 stages. So 3 stages of Calvin cycle. So first one is carboxylation, second one is reduction, and third one is regeneration. So in serial number only, means we have to remember without any zigzags. So first step is, or first stage is carboxylation, and the second stage is reduction, and third stage is regeneration. One more time, here the Calvin cycle for our convenience to study, now we have divided into 3 stages. First one is carboxylation, second one reduction, third one regeneration. Now let us see. Ribose 1,5 bisphosphate, the cycle, it is a CBSE textbook cycle, but tomorrow if a possibility is there, I will come with neat information where we will know, so that particular cycle. So definitely I will keep in front of you. So by using that particular cycle, C3 cycle, let us learn the information deeply in a next class. But in this particular class now, so primary information what they have given under the C3 cycle, now let us start to discuss. Ribose 1,5 bisphosphate, I already told you Ribose 1,5 bisphosphate is 5 carbon compound. Now by taking off 1 carbon dioxide, 1 molecule of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and water, it will be available in the plants itself. So by the process of carboxylation, 3-phosphoglycerate, 3-phosphoglycerate or 3-phosphoglyceric acid formation takes place. Now here the ATP molecules as well as NADPH molecules are going to be utilized, so in the process of reduction. So in the process of reduction, so in a carboxylation process, if you see there is no utilization of ATP as well as NADPHs, but here in a reduction as well as in a regeneration we will notice the utilization of ATP. So here also ATP is going to be consumed, and as well as in a reduction process also ATP is utilized. Now in a reduction point of view, what are the points? In a reduction, ATP as well as NADPHs are consumed, but in a regeneration ATP mattumda utilized. But in a carboxylation there is no ATP as well as NADPHs consumption or utilization. So after formation of a 3-phosphoglycerate, so in the reduction process ATP as well as NADPH are reduced or the oxidized. So thereby ADP plus PI, and from there to from the ATP to ADP plus PI, and from the NADPH to which one formation? NADP plus is formed. Again from the 3-phosphoglycerate to triose phosphate is formed, and from these triose phosphate to, so here sucrose or starch molecules formation takes place. From the triose phosphate to which one formation takes place? Sucrose or starch. Sucrose or starch formation takes place. So now this triose phosphate again involves in the regeneration of RUBP, helps in a regeneration of RUBP. So at the time, even in the regeneration process also ATP molecules are consumed. So ATP adenosine triphosphate, which is going or which is involved in the regeneration process, and ADP and ADP plus PA formation takes place. So here if you study this one, in a NEET examination you will not get even one mark also, suppose if they ask any questions related to this one. So that's why in the next class definitely I will bring the information, so what we can learn or where we can learn the information of C3 cycle very exclusively. So that particular cycle let us use to learn the extra information related to the C3 cycle. So now in this class what we have learned, so we have learned the utilization, exact what is the place of where is the place exactly utilizes the ATP as well as NADPH we see, and here the how many number of photosynthetic pathways are there we have seen. So thereby what we have confirmed, those there C3 pathway is there and C4 pathway is there. Likewise there are two different types of pathways are there. So in the plants, suppose if the by the process of photosynthesis, suppose if the first stable compound is formed means, so those plants we call them as C3 plants. So suppose here first stable photosynthetic first product. In photosynthesis, first product, suppose 4 carbon compound means just that one we are taking as or those plants we are taking as C4 plants. So likewise here some more information we have seen later. So what is the carbon or carbon molecules or the carbon dioxide molecules which are coming from the atmosphere, who is receiving? Why? Because here in photosynthesis 3 carbon compound is going to be formed at the time. So over here initially what we have thought so definitely 5 carbon compound means 5 carbon ketone sugar only means ribose biphosphate. Ribose biphosphate only is receives the carbon dioxide we learn, but here third carbon compound only is going to be formed in the process of photosynthesis. I think so. Now later what we are confirming, I think so there the first carbon receiving product will be the 2 carbon 1 we got. But we have suspected, but it is confirmed. So the carbon dioxide is received by the or accepted by the 5th carbon compound known as ribose biphosphate. Okay, ribose 1,5 bisphosphate, or simply we will be taking as RUBP. So this is the information. After that Calvin cycle, for our convenience to study, we have divided into 3 stages: carboxylation, reduction and regeneration. Okay, so in a carboxylation what is happening, in a reduction what is happening, and in a regeneration what is happening, in a tomorrow's class let us learn. Okay, so thank you.